What is up, restaurant friends? If you're looking for strategies to really elevate your presence through digital, or you want to learn how to elevate events at your restaurant, you're in the right place today. I am here with Mercedes Montijo from Wood Group in San Diego, and also the Room for Revenue series on LinkedIn. Mercedes, great to have you here. Let me ask, let's get right to it. What are the biggest challenges you're seeing that restaurants are facing in this marketing landscape today?
Oh my gosh, it can't just be me, but we're all going for revenue. It's either feast or famine right now. We're lucky to be feasting, but of course, I am really heartfelt with the people that are in famine mode and having to strive to get better.
What do you think's the cause of that? The famine mode?
I think that it's just a really competitive market. I mean, especially in San Diego, it's becoming very much like New York, where things are like, there's so many restaurants in one block. I mean, in Pacific Beach, we own, I oversee 5 venues, 4 of which are within the same block of each other. So it's really a competitive market, and standing out in that market is really important. And then, of course, with everything getting more expensive, people are just really having a hard time coping. I mean, I remember I went and got something and it was $15 for like a thing of strawberries covered in chocolate, and I almost had a heart attack. So I also feel that, and I think that a lot of our customers are feeling that. And so innovating and finding ways to still bring people in, and not having it be so hard or like not a once a month occurrence is really hard right now.
Yeah. So, I mean, you've got all kinds of creative ideas. What are some of those things either that you've been doing or that you've seen that's working to really grab people's attention and get them in?
So I think right now, loyalty is a big subject. A lot of our bigger counterparts, Starbucks, McDonald's, Burger King, all of those people are building loyalty programs and have been for a long time, but now they're really captivating on them. And I think us smaller businesses are really trying to get a piece of the pie and keep people in the smaller business sector and keep them within our venues. I think also creating loyalty, like we have 5 venues in our portfolio. So we're trying to leverage that soon to be, with just creating loyalty within keeping within the portfolio, because we see a lot of people traveling into Pacific Beach. And how I put it is they're going to a hotel and then they need to find somewhere to eat, but they're going to be in that hotel for multiple days, right? So if they visit one of our venues like Flamingo Deck, and then maybe we create something with you guys where like it would continue their experience with us throughout our brands. I think keeping people within your brands are really important. I also think that just driving revenue and the cost of customer acquisition is an interesting topic right now. And I told somebody this the other day, and they were like, I don't know. And it was so funny because there was a menu with the price point sitting right in front of me. So, Court, what do you think the cost of customer acquisition is currently in the market?
Oh my gosh. To get a new person into your restaurant?
On a price point basis. Yeah. Like, just like, what does something have to be priced at for somebody to go, okay, I will go and try it out?
I mean, I'm in Kansas City. San Diego's different.
It's going to be a little different. Yeah.
$20, $25.
So, well, actually, so this is where I'm seeing on national brands. So we're talking McDonald's and Dunkin' and stuff like that. And it's so funny because I was at Dave & Buster's and I asked the bartender, what's the current cost of customer acquisition, do you think? Right. And I'm sitting in front of a menu that says $5 drinks, $5 bites. And I was like, what do you think the current cost is to get people in the door? And like, what price point do you have to be at? And he's like, I don't know. And I was like, it's right in front of me. It's $5, most likely. That's what I'm seeing, across the board is $5. $5 meal deals, $5 coffee and croissants at Dunkin', Starbucks did a $5, $6 deal. So it's really interesting when you're looking at what all the big players are doing, and then how are you going to put that into your space and leverage it?
Love that. So what do you do? How does that work? Do you offer some kind of $5 deal in exchange for their email address and phone number? Is that kind of
you just offer $5 is just what to get somebody in the door right now, as I feel like, because like everybody is pricing at $5, which I find kind of insane. I don't know how we're really how we're doing it at this point, but all of these big companies I'm seeing are pricing everything at $5 to get people in the door. So like Dave and Buster's brought back their happy hour, or they like brought back an all day thing, and it's like $5 bites all day, $5 drinks, and it's like a beer. And then, you know, McDonald's, they're doing the $5 deals. So it's really interesting to see like everybody turn into, and it happened recently. It happened about, I would probably put it at like 6 to 8 months ago, where I saw it across the board. I even saw it at a grocery store. It was like $5 deals every day. Like every day they had a different $5 deal.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, that's really interesting.
That is interesting. That is a great insight. You know, McDonald's got a lot of backlash when we were younger, dollar everything, right? And
Yeah.
now to go there, it's like $10, $12 to order a
Yeah.
combo meal. And now they're bringing back that $5 thing. So yeah, that is a great insight.
Yeah. I think I remember it from being a kid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I was like, wow, that looks really similar.
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay, another thing that you talk a lot about are events and experiences.
Oh,
I
yeah.
know you do a lot with events, and you know that's what we see millennials are looking for a lot, right? Like they want
Yeah.
to go out and have experiences and do things. What are you seeing with that right now?
Oh man. So our venues are huge for bachelorettes. We got really big on TikTok when we first started. Probably a month in. People started posting us on TikTok, and that was like 2021. So TikTok
Yeah.
was huge.
Yeah.
And it blew us up. Like every day we were getting phone calls. And at this time we didn't take for one of our venues, we didn't take reservations. So every day we're getting phone calls of, I saw you on TikTok. Can I get a reservation? And we're like, sorry, we're not taking reservations right now. We're just walk-ins. And they're like, it was literally TikTok, TikTok, TikTok. But what I'm seeing on the group side is really interesting. So back to the financial aspect of what we're kind of at financially and where people are spending money, people don't want to front the bill for their friends. That's what I've been seeing in the next generation. They
Okay.
really like the predetermined price point of X per person and what that includes. So that's where we're kind of moving towards, and we're hoping to get to the next season, because we're really seasonal. Summers are great for us. Winters we try to play around with things and see what works. So we did use an app called Batch App for a little bit, and we saw a good interest in it. They changed their pricing model, so we're no longer going to go with them. But it showed us a lot to do with group sales, in a sense of people want it price per person, so that essentially they could just send a Venmo and say, hey, it was $35, including tax, tip, gratuity, and this is what you got for it. That's what we're seeing at. And it's easier to plan these bigger parties, because when you're doing a bachelorette, you're here for 3-4 days. And so you have to plan like dinner, breakfast, boat ride, all of these things. And so being able to say, hey, for the weekend, it's going to be $1,500 for all of us, or whatever that is, it's making it a lot easier from the guest perspective. And they really enjoy knowing what they're going to get. It's finding the balancing point with our team to do that has been a little challenging, but I think now we've done it for a little over a year, so we're kind of getting it to a point where we can perfect it and get it outside of the current hours we're allowing it to happen. But another thing I'm seeing is people are all about experiences right now. So for instance, we had somebody that requested a table decor for their, like, they wanted to show up and it be completely decked out for their bachelorette party. And that's like a big room for revenue right there. So we're talking about putting that into our packages, where like it will include table decor and maybe some little gifts for them to part way with that are branded with us. So
Yep.
it actually ends up working out to our benefit, because they'll go walk the streets of Pacific Beach and have on a hat that says Flamingo Deck, something like that. So that's where we're headed. People are definitely in the experience, and at the end of the day, every restaurant serves food. And I hate to say it, but every restaurant serves food.
Yep.
And there's a lot of places that serve good food. So if you're not providing an experience that's memorable, an experience that's different than everybody else's, that's where a lot of like the Instagram, they always want the Instagram photos and all these things. Like we're even talking about getting in a social media, they have them at weddings now, and it's like essentially a social media creator, I guess. I don't know, but they follow the group around during their dining experience and take all the videos they want.
Really? I've
Yeah, and they
never
charge a
heard of
flat
that.
rate. They'll charge you a flat rate, and then they'll follow you around for your dining experience. So we're even talking about partnering with a social media person that does that. Like they'll like I and the reason I found out about it is because I had a good employee of ours had her bachelorette with us, and she's like, yeah, we hired the social media girl to do all our social media reels and everything we want. And I was like, what? I was like, I need her number.
Yeah. That's
So even
brilliant. I've never
coordinating
heard of
that.
that. I love
Yeah,
that
so
idea.
even we're even considering coordinating that. Like, of course, we're not going to do that. That's not
Mhm.
our. I have a social media girl that we use, and she's great, but I feel like it'll stretch her way too thin, of course. So what we're considering is coordinating that for our guest because it's only going to benefit us. If they
Yeah.
post it on social media and tag us, it helps us. So
Oh my gosh. That is brilliant. It's like having your own wedding photographer, but for
yeah,
social media. I think
yeah.
that's so smart. So smart. Yeah,
Well,
that
and
is.
a lot of these photos that people take just live in the cloud. And it's like if they make it specifically for social media, what's trending right now, you already have it ready to go. You don't have to download the photographer's photos to upload them into Instagram to resize them. It's like it was already shot on your iPhone and they're posting it. These girls will post it in real time for you. So you don't even have to go home after you were done partying and post. They already posted it for you and everybody saw what was happening.
Oh my gosh. That is so
Right?
brilliant. That's brilliant idea. So love that. Love that. Okay, changing gears a little bit. You talk a lot about mobile first, right? That
Oh yeah.
restaurants need to really think about when a customer, like, what's the experience like on their phone, right? Talk to us about that.
Oh my gosh. Well, I guess we'd have to go into the phone well-being app and see how many hours I've spent on my mobile phone.
Yeah.
So, I think that the next generation just spends a lot of time on their phone, unless they're at work. That's when they're on their laptops, and some of them don't even work on laptops. Some of them work on iPads and stuff
Mhm.
like that. So, what we see and it stems from our ownership. He doesn't use a laptop. Like our owner at Wood Group does not use a laptop. He is mobile only. So we have had to innovate the way that we talk to him because, of course, if we're like right now, for instance, I'm sourcing for a new venue we're about to open, there is a lot of information that needs to go across. But to text all that information to him would give both of us a headache. I mean, the text list would be this long. So I created like a Google Doc that I saved to his phone, almost like an app
Mhm.
on his home screen. And so he can just click it and then he can look through what's been sourced and then go click another list of things that have been sourced. And then that redirects him to another Google Doc that's another list. And then it has purchasing links.
Mm.
So it really stems from him because he doesn't use a computer. And we always are having to think, okay, how will this look for somebody that doesn't use a computer, that only searches things on their phones? Or what I'm seeing a lot of is people are using a lot of ChatGPT. How like and we haven't figured this out yet. I wish if anybody has that's watching this, please email me or DM me. But we need to start figuring out how we're going to appear on ChatGPT and what that looks like in the next coming years because people are planning things using AI.
Mhm.
So like what I'm seeing, and I had a client tell me this the other day, is she said, "Hey, I looked at like I had a ChatGPT plan my bachelorette for San Diego this weekend, and they recommended you. Can you book us a reservation?" And I was like, "Whoa!" But like it literally gave her an itinerary of what to do.
Yeah.
And we were on that itinerary, luckily. But how do we leverage that to continue to be on the itinerary is going to be really interesting.
That is fascinating. Yeah. I mean, have you played around with the new voice thing where you can talk to it and it's like a therapist for you?
Ooh, no, I'll have to
No.
check that out.
So it's only for the pro plans and you can like talk. There's the button it's on the right at the bottom and you can like talk to it and it'll talk back to you. And it's like a therapist. I mean, it is brilliant. So I would
That's
highly recommend.
amazing. Well, a lot of people are moving to voice. Typing takes a lot of time, I feel like, and then having to retype it and do all these things. So a lot of people, I know like a lot of people are sending voice messages, they're sending video messages via LinkedIn. Just because it I feel like it's also one of those things where you can get a point across a lot faster via voice. Hence
Mhm.
why we've always made phone calls,
Yeah.
you know.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. The voice to text, you can talk a lot faster than you can type. So love that. Love that. Um, what trends do you see coming in the future? You've mentioned a couple things,
Ooh.
ChatGPT, but Where do you see things headed maybe in the next 5 years?
I think influencer marketing is changing in a sense of it's actually getting bigger. It's like really weird. Like, so what's happening is you're seeing influencer marketing. I feel like it used to be a part of our marketing strategy, and now it needs to shift to be 50% of our marketing strategy.
Yep.
Luckily we get a lot of people that just post about us. But I think leveraging that and really pushing it forward and having more posts about us is really big. We're actually talking about doing like an influencer big deep thing for the new venue. But I also think experiences is going to grow even more, and in a sense of the influencer marketing. So what I'm thinking I'm going to see, and it's so funny. I went into a venue the other day, Tender Hooligan. I did a room for revenue on them too. And I went in and their bathrooms are under construction. And I went, wow, are you guys building studios back there? Because it looked like they're building maybe some studios, like podcast studios or something like that. But I really think that's where restaurants might tend to move to, is like we might start seeing restaurants that actually have filming studios within them. So if you get your food and you're an influencer and you are like, hey, I need to shoot this and it's really loud in this restaurant. I really think that we're going to start seeing these like pods essentially pop up in the restaurants where like you could do that.
Interesting.
And really promoting it. Like,
yeah, I that is fabulous. I mean, I'm just spitballing. Would it ever make sense to have like an influencer just come in for the evening and like capture lots of stuff, kind of like what you're talking about with the bachelor party events? I don't know, that might be another way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what it's all like. That's what it's moving towards. Like I'm seeing it in hotels a lot. So hotels are essentially giving like guest vouchers to influencers and then paying them a little bit and having them literally just make a bunch of content for them. Because they already know what sells essentially on the online platforms. So it's not getting rid of our social media teams. It's essentially the AI for our social media teams, right? Like the influencers are essentially helping them by creating all the content that we're going to need. But it also, with the way that Instagram's like rolling right now and all the big platforms are rolling, collaboration is key. And that's really coming to fruition more and more. Like the more you collaborate with people, the better your post performs. So by leveraging that and saying, let's get some influencers in here and do it, then it makes sense. Like, because then you have the collaboration of, you have all their followers that are going to see it and you have all your followers that are going to see it. So it's going to really perform really well.
Yep. I think that's so true. And that's something I've talked to owners about is, you know, back in the day, we would spend marketing dollars on print, TV, billboards, and you're kind of praying and spraying. Versus, you know, influencers, they have a built-in audience of videos and people that, you know, in that hyper local area. And so I just think it makes way more sense to put ad dollars into that than a billboard.
Well, and I think it's essentially what I think it is. And influencers are getting better at leveraging their current market, like not their current market, but like who they currently have. So they can show you where all the people that watch their stuff are located, what their age range is, like just like a billboard ad would tell you, right? A newspaper would tell you, hey, we print this much. This is how many views and clicks we get on it. This is our performance. But influencers are starting to learn how to do that. And I think the more that they learn how to do that, the more they can leverage it to better work with us. Because it's no longer like, I remember when I first started in restaurants and it was all about Yelp reviews. Yelp reviews. Reviews. Now it is about that, of course. But what they used to say about influencers is completely wrong now, which is so funny. So they used to be like, oh, that doesn't do anything. Social media is just, it's nothing. It doesn't actually bring real money into our pockets. But what we're seeing is it actually does. Like when we first opened Flamingo Deck and a month later, every phone call, and I'm not joking, Court, every phone call we got, I saw you on TikTok. Emails. It was nuts. Like, and it was overnight. I mean, we were like doing okay, building business slowly, right? It was like
Uh-huh.
every business is a slow build,
Uh-huh.
right? So we opened, we were kind of busy, we're coming out of pandemic. And the second we went viral on TikTok, it was like a flash flood happened.
Wow.
It was nuts.
Yeah. Was it one specific video that went viral, or was it kind of like
Everybody
several?
just kept posting about us.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's where that influencer marketing comes in, right? So if we would have been, if we would have known what we know now, we could have hired that out and done that ourselves. It's almost like a
Mm.
flash mob, but
Yep.
essentially they did it for us.
Mhm.
And people just posted, and then somebody saw it and came and posted again and posted again. And then it was another post and another post. And eventually it was like a flash mob
Yeah.
of Flamingo Deck all over the internet.
Love it. Love it.
It's nuts.
Super cool.
I don't
Super
think a
smart.
restaurant, I don't think a restaurant knows how to prepare when like TikTok literally turns you upside down.
Oh yeah? Because people
I mean,
just
it's nuts. Like it was floodgates.
Hmm.
Like
Like,
it sounds fun. Like, oh, let's go TikTok viral. But when it happens, you have to be prepared to hire staff really quickly because you will be
really,
TikTok viral the next day. Like, I'm not joking. It was crazy the amount of like just how fast people flooded in.
that is fabulous. Great, great tip. Another great tip. Let me ask you this. What are your hopes for the future of restaurants?
Ooh. I don't know. There's so much hopes. I look forward to the way that we're gonna start utilizing AI and not being afraid of AI. I think that so many restaurants are in the mindset, and I'm sure you've heard this, is if it's not broke, why fix it?
Mhm.
So I look forward to ChatGPT telling them it's broke and we need
Yeah.
to fix it. But yeah, I just look forward to everybody starting to embrace that, embracing being online and having a presence, like the reason I'm here and why I've been doing a couple of other podcasts and video shoots and stuff like that is like the more that I talk about it, the more that it's essentially free marketing and it's things that people don't realize. It's like you could go on, make your own podcast for your venue. You can show the people that work in your venue, and all of these things are creating a community that's not in real life, but it's online. And sometimes that's even stronger. And I think all the time it's even stronger than the community you could make in real life. Because the amount of people I've been introduced to and had the pleasure of like talking to and stuff like that, that I would have never met in real life is insane. And it's all from just being online and being present.
Absolutely. Love that. What about your fears for the
Ooh.
restaurant industry?
I definitely fear the when AI starts to being leveraged, I fear there will be, and there's always people in the restaurant industry that try to cut costs so much that they lose what's actually what hospitality is actually about.
Yep.
And so I do fear that. I fear that people will try to cut costs at all means, and that's going to hinder our industry in a lot of different ways. Besides the job losses that would occur, I mean, I think that, and I don't know how it is in Kansas City, but in San Diego and in LA, so I moved down from LA, but after COVID, service was really hindered. Like we haven't seen the service that we got prior to COVID in any restaurants I've been to. And so I think I've gotten like great service once in San Diego, you know? And so that's really interesting to think about because once you hear about all this AI and how they can replace people, it's like it's essentially knowing what's coming, which is cut cost, but then at what cost are you cutting costs? How many people are you going to lose by replacing? So
Yeah, I mean, people are the most expensive part of the business, right? And so, yeah, I mean, that is sad and kind of scary. I went to somewhere and the ordering was 100%. There was a QR code on the table. You scanned it and it brought up the menu. You could order. And what I thought was like brilliant is it upsold me.
it does upsell.
Better
And that
than a
just
human
shows,
could.
but it shows where we're having issues. right? So like, and that's something I saw too. That's funny that you brought that up. So we have issues with training, but we're not like fixing the issue, right? Because the computer's fixing the issue.
Yeah.
And so I do think that's really interesting that they saw like upselling has to be every time, and it's computerized. And sometimes they're even getting really good where they can say, oh, you ordered the jalapeno burger. Well, people usually order a milkshake with the jalapeno burger, and they'll like recommend what you most likely will order next.
Yep. It's coming. It's coming. And I've had a couple people say, this AI thing is a fad.
It's definitely not a fad.
AI in the future, is there?
So that's funny you say that. So when I have to tell you a funny story, like it's kind of funny but sad. So in 2019 of November, December, I was in China, and there was a bunch of temperature checks, and it was really weird because I was in China before in April and it wasn't like that. And I was like, what is happening? Something's going wrong, right? And COVID wasn't even heard about yet, right? But it was weird. So I was like, this is weird. And I came back to the US, and everybody was kind of talking about COVID at that time in January. And I was like, oh, this is a big deal. And this is when I was the chief operating officer for Roaming Italy. And I told all of the business owners I knew, I said, start ordering really low. Like, don't bring in too much product because something's going to happen and I don't know how long it's going to last, essentially. And everybody's like, it will last a week. That's not a big deal. It'll be a week and we'll be reopened. And I'm like, no, like I was just in China and it doesn't look good.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, it'll be fine. And it lasted a year in LA. Yeah. So, I mean, it's coming. AI is coming. Don't doubt that. And the faster you can lean into it, the faster you're learning and the more you're improving than the others that are saying, oh, it's just a fad. Because, I mean, people thought crypto was a fad when it first started. The crypto's still being sold.
Yeah, absolutely. Mercedes, what have I not asked you that I should?
Oh, man, this is a hard one. I don't know. What's my, I guess, 5-year goal?
Yeah, 5 years.
Okay, so I always write a 5-year goal. So I just completed my 5-year goal and I bought a house. And yeah, clap hands, but then my water heater broke. So
oh no, that always happens.
Clap, no hands. So in the next 5 years, I definitely want to I'm leaning into LinkedIn. I have been for the last it's over 100 days now, which is really cool. But from leaning into LinkedIn, I want to do a podcast. I haven't figured out what that is. I think I'm going to do a live Room for Revenue where essentially I bring people in and do like something like that. I want to write a book. That's like been a goal of mine for a really long time, and I didn't know what I wanted to do it about. But now I'm thinking hospitality. I think that's like, it's always been in the back of my mind to do a hospitality, but I'm like, I don't know. And I think it's the whole thing of like, you feel like nobody, like what you're saying isn't any better than what everybody else thinks. Mm-hmm. Like when I started the Room for Revenue series, I questioned everything I said. I was like, that's normal. Like that's not like anything special. Like, of course they could make money there. But then I posted it and everybody's like, wow, those are great ideas. And I was like, oh, okay. So I think just believing in yourself is really big. And then hopefully within the 5-year goal, I want to be publicly speaking. So I've been practicing to eventually, hopefully one day do that.
I love it. And you are very active on LinkedIn and doing a great job. So congratulations on that. You're really taking massive action.
So are you. That's how we met.
Yep, absolutely. And there's lots of good opportunities on LinkedIn. So I think that's great. Mercedes, how can people find you if they want to work with you or want to learn more about what you're doing?
So you can find me on LinkedIn. This is my name.
Okay.
Or if you want to shoot me an email, it's mercedes@thebeechwood.com. So I'm always reading my emails and happy to take an email or a DM. I feel like DMs are a little more personal, but yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. Mercedes, thank you so much. You gave so much value today. We really appreciate it.
And the sun is coming out.
There you go. There you go. All right, everybody, have a great day. We will talk to you soon.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.